Hi guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to write linear equations given various pieces of information. First, we're going to start off by reviewing what a linear equation looks like in slope-intercept form. Whenever we write our equations, most of the time we will be writing them in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So in order to be able to write our linear equations, we need to be able to find our m, which is our slope, and our b, which stands for our y-intercept. If we can find m and b, we can write any linear equation. So first, we're going to go over how to write the linear equation if we are given our m and b value. So in this example, we're given m is equal to -3. That means our slope is -3, and b, our y-intercept, is equal to 2. So first we're going to write down our equation y equals mx plus b. We're going to identify the m and the b, which we have given to us. We're going to replace the m with -3. We're going to replace the b with +2, and then we're going to fill in the rest of the equation. So it looks like this: y equals -3x plus 2. And that's it. Let's look at if we're given a graph. Here is the graph of a linear equation. We know it is a straight line, and we want to write the equation for that graph. First, I always start by writing my equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Now we need to be able to find our m and our b from looking at the graph. I typically start with my b value because that is easier to find, and I'm going to use that to help me find the slope. So remember, b is y-intercept. So I'm going to look at the graph, find where the graph crosses the y-axis, which is right there. And then I'm going to count down to see what number that is. It goes down 3, so our y-intercept is -3. That's where it crosses the y-axis. To find the slope, I need 2 points on the line. If I have 2 points on the line, I can count the slope. So I'm going to use my y-intercept as one of my points. So I'm going to put a point there. And now I need to find another point so that I can count the rise over the run. So here's another point on the graph. Now, it's important to realize that it does not matter which 2 points you pick on the line, because no matter which 2 points you choose, they will all simplify. If you choose correct points and you count correctly, they will all simplify to the same value. So I chose the two that are closest to each other, but if you chose two that were further apart, you would just have to simplify it and you would get the same answer. So in this case, I'm going to start at my y-intercept. You always go from left to right on the graph. So I'm starting with the purple point because that comes first from left to right. And I'm going to count my rise first, which is how many boxes I go up. In this case, I'm going up 2. And then I count my run, which is how many I go across, and I'm going across 1. So my slope would be 2 over 1, which simplifies to just 2. If I use different points, I might get a slope of 6 over 3 or 8 over 4, which would still simplify to 2 in the end. You always want the simplest form version. Now I'm going to do what I did before. Now that I have m and b, I'm just going to replace my m and my b with the two values that I just found, and I'm going to get y equals 2x minus 3. I could check this on my calculator. If I plug in y equals 2x minus 3, I should get the same graph, or it should look the same as the example that was given, which it does. Now we're going to go over how to find a linear equation if we are given 2 points. So we don't have the graph, but we have the 2 points that do fall on the graph of the line. Well, if you were given a piece of graph paper, you could plot those 2 points on a coordinate plane, and you can find or write the linear equation by finding the y-intercept and calculating the slope. But we also can use our calculator to give us the linear equation. So the first thing we want to do is reset the memory on your calculator, 2nd plus 7, 1, 2. Then we're going to press the stat button and then enter. When we do that, it gives us our lists. When we use our lists, L1 always represents our x coordinates and L2 represents our y coordinates. So my strong word of advice is to stack the 2 points that you are using, because you want your x's to be in line and you want your y's to be in line. This is to help prevent any errors while typing the numbers into our lists. So if they are stacked, we're going to go down for L1. So we put 4, then you press enter, then -2, enter. Then you scroll to the right to L2, and then we're going to hit 6, enter, 9, enter. Your points should look the same as what your given examples were. 4 needs to be next to the 6, and -2 needs to be next to the 9. After we enter our data, we're going to press Stat again, but this time we're going to arrow over to the right and highlight the word Calc. And then we're pressing 4 for linear regression. That's just another way of saying linear equation. And then we have to hit enter 5 times, and it will give us this screen. On the calculator, instead of M, they use A for slope, but they do give you the slope-intercept form equation, y equals ax plus b, and then they give you the A and the B. So in this case, A is our slope is -0.5, and B, our y-intercept, is 8. We don't want to write our equation with a decimal, though, so we're going to convert our decimal to a fraction. You may know that -0.5 is equal to -1/2, but if you're not sure, you go back to the main screen, you press the decimal, and then you press Math, enter, enter, and it will turn it into a fraction for you. So now I have the fraction as -1/2, so I replace m with -1/2 and b with 8, and I get y equals -1/2 x plus 8. Now, given a table is very similar, so I'm not going to walk through a whole example, but if you're given a table like this one, this table is made up of 4 ordered pairs or 4 points that fall on the line. So we can use the exact same steps we just used in the example before by choosing any 2 points from this table. We have our x's and we have our y's, so we could choose any 2 points we want and enter the x's into L1, the y's into L2, and press Stat Calc 4. If you're going to choose any 2 points, I do recommend just choosing the first 2 so you don't make any mistakes entering data in. If you circle the first 2, you would just put -1 and 0 into L1 and 10 and -6 into L2. You also can enter the whole table into your calculator as well and enter all the x values into L1 and all of them into all the y's into L2, and it would still also give you the equation. And the last type of problem we're going to go through is if you're given 1 point and the slope. So to write a linear equation using your calculator, you need to have 2 points. But in this case, they're only giving us 1 point, but they are giving us another piece of information, and that is the slope. So this is what an example might look like. It says, write the equation of the line that has a slope of -3 and goes through the point -4, 7. Well, again, if you had graph paper, you could plot the point -4, 7, and then use the slope of -3 and plot more points on the line and then write the equation that way. But if you are not have graph paper, there's another way you can do it. Again, you always want to start off with writing your slope-intercept form equation, y equals mx plus b, and then we're going to look at the information that is given to us. We do have the slope, and we know that that's our m, so we know we can replace m with -3. However, we don't have a b value, but we do have one other piece of information, and in this case, it's the point, -4, 7. Well, that point is going to be very helpful to us. The -4 and 7 represent an x and a y. In this example, x is equal to -4, so I can replace x with -4, and y is equal to 7, so I can replace the y with 7. And now I have an equation that only has one variable left, and that is b, and I can solve that equation. So first I'm going to multiply -3 and -4, which gives me +12, and now I have a one-step equation. 7 equals 12 plus b. So to solve it, I subtract 12 from both sides, and I get -5 is equal to b. So now that I have m and b, I can write my linear equation. So I'm going to take my m and I'm going to replace it with the -3, and I'm going to take my b and I'm going to replace it with the -5. I'm now done with x, y, and I have my linear equation, y equals -3x minus 5, and that's it. So I know I went through a lot of information, but this is all the different types of data that they would give you that you would have to write a linear equation. Okay, they can give you a graph, they can give you a table, 2 points. So these are all the steps that you would go through to write a linear equation. Hope this was helpful. I'll see you guys soon.